What's up, everybody? I found some more books, and I don't think I went over these or read these, but this is another Terry Farrell book or article and stuff, and this is a old TV guide that I found, and a couple other things I found out here and stuff, a couple other books and stuff that I saw the other day. And I didn't remember this stuff, but yeah, this is a TV guide, and it says here, or that Terry Farrell did, this TV guide, and it says here on the top, the women of Star Trek are out of this world. How the Federation's newest stars have turned on the power and taken command. And I don't think I read these or went over these, but yeah, this is real old. And to give you an idea of how way back or how far back this is from, this is originally from a TV guide for November 1997. So yeah, this is from way back. Just opening this up real quick. Yeah, I don't think a lot of these shows or stations are on anymore. But yeah, this is what was stuff that was playing from way back in the 90s or so, about mid 90s, mid late 90s. Anyway, so this article, and I think this was a pretty long article, so I'm going to try to do this thing in one part, maybe two. We'll see how that goes. There is a, if this will focus, which sometimes this camera has difficulty doing, or it takes a minute to zoom or focus and stuff. But yeah, this is another picture of Terry, and the article we're looking for is on page 18. It says here, Solar Sisters. Voyager's Jerry Ryan and Deep Space Nine's Terry Farrell Wright are among a strong new generation of Star Trek women. Alright. And of course we got some 90s stuff. 90s commercials and actors and all kinds of stuff here. Old article about or on Oprah Winfrey. Wow, looks kind of different there. Oops, got sidetracked there. Sorry about that. Some more commercials, 90s stuff, articles. Let's see here. Alright, so this is the article. It's pretty long. It says Solar Sisters here. And this is a real old picture of Dax and the other character from Voyager who was 709. Yeah, that's the other character. And it looks like they were doing some kind of, I don't know, Star Trek thing. Anyway, so I'll start reading this. And now this article is kind of weird. It kind of skips, back and forth. Like it'll be talking about Terry Farrell. It'll be like a little interview with Terry Farrell. Then it switches over to Jerry Ryan. Then it switches back to Terry. And so if you want to read the whole thing, you just go back and pause this stuff. Otherwise, I'm just gonna, try and read just the Terry parts, which is what this, or so. Yeah, something like that. Or I could read this whole thing, but I don't know. This is a pretty serious article. I mean, well, I guess I could read the whole thing, but I mean, I'd have to do two parts instead of one, so. Well, I guess, why not? I guess I'll read the whole thing. Why not? Ooh. 7 of 9 and Dax embody the new breed of Star Trek women, confident, courageous, and totally in control. They are the Star Trek women of the 90s. Oh yeah. We're talking 20 or so years ago. Hear them roar. Back in the free love 60s, most of the females seen on Gene Roddenberry's classic sci-fi series were busty bombshells with microscopic skirts and beehive hairdos. With the Reagan-era 80s came Star Trek The Next Generation, the most acclaimed and intellectually challenging of the Trek series, yet one populated with docile women who were medics and shrinks, in other words, caregivers to the male crew members of Starfleet. But as the new millennium approaches, it's interesting to note that every single one of the female regulars on the two current series, the syndicated Star Trek Deep Space Nine and UPN's Star Trek Voyager, is strong, smart, complicated, and commanding, and they can kick your keister from here to Yursar Minor. We are not Stepford women in space, says actress Terry Farrell, who plays DS9 Science Officer Jadzia Dax. We're proud and we've really got it together, and I'm thrilled that little girls can tune in and see that. Farrell's character is a Trill, a joined species comprising a 356-year-old symbiont worm encased in the body of a young female host. The resulting new life form still carries the personalities and memories of the worm's previous 7 hosts, some of them male, and is arguably the most provocative, dizzyingly layered role ever created for a television actress. Until DS9 came along, the other parts available to me required little more preparation than working out my bod, says Farrell, who made her TV debut in the 1984 freshly nighttime soap Paper Dolls. To be cast as Dax was overwhelming. This part worked out my brain. The recent highly hyped arrival of Jerry Ryan on Voyager's drop-dead gorgeous 7 of 9, who is a part human and part evil cybernetic board, brought the show its best ratings since its phenomenal premiere in January 1995. It's so refreshing to play something other than the doormat. Wow. The victim or the leading man's girlfriend, says Ryan, who is not remotely apologetic about her overtly steamy character, or her seemingly sprayed on but not a sex pot, notes Ryan. And there is no reason sexy women should always play the bimbos. Intelligence comes in every possible physical package. Excuse me. And it's time we show that. She credits much of her success of 7 to Voyager executive producer Jerry Taylor, the only woman ever to earn a top command position on a Star Trek series. Says Ryan, I'm not suggesting that the male execs would run wild and create sex pots all over the place if left unsupervised by Jerry, but having a woman's presence has made a big difference. Terry, who co-created Voyager, with Rick Berman and Michael Piller is a former housewife who joined the Trek universe in 1990. I have always been protective of the image of women, she says. I did what I could to shore up Deanna Troi, Mariana Sirtis, and Beverly Crusher, Gates McFadden on TNG and move them beyond their caregiver roles, sending them on more away teams, for example. But I never had to fight Rick Berman about it. He felt exactly the same way. Berman, executive producer of all 3 Trek spin-offs and the official keeper of the Roddenberry Flame, bristles at any condemnation of the female image as portrayed on TNG. The show was never conceived by Gene to only have caregiver women, says Berman. It just turned out that way. People forgot that we started out with Denise Crosby as Tasha Yar, who was a real kick-ass security officer. No one expected the actress to leave during the first season. So the fact that the 2 caregivers were the ones who remained was coincidental. Still, no effort was made over TNG's 7-year run to replace Tasha with a similarly powerful female. True, concedes Berman, and when it came time for us to create DS9 and Voyager, we didn't want to make that mistake again. But don't accuse him of caving in to pressure. We are not doing anything because we have to, Berman insists. Nobody said to us, we can't have mindless women on your shows. Or you can't have mindless women on your shows. It just doesn't occur to us any more than it would to have mindless men. Still, one must ask, what took so long for the tide to turn? Especially in such a progressive, high-minded format as Trek, opines Taylor. I'd like to think it's about enlightenment, but the skeptic in me suspects that television is always looking for that which it hasn't done before. Traditionally, women have not been action figures on TV, so that's why we're seeing it now. But does the motivation really matter? It's a good, healthy idea whose time has come. She gets no argument from Nana Visitor. The DS9 actress plays tough cookie Kira Nyers, a former Bajoran freedom fighter who gave birth last season to a surrogate child. What's remarkable is that we are using a futuristic setting to reflect on the lives of a contemporary woman, says Visitor. A baby in one arm and a phaser in the other is an analogy a lot of women today understand perfectly. But longtime feminist Kate McGrew isn't doing cartwheels just yet. TV women may finally be stepping up to the plate, but the game has barely begun, says McGrew, who, as Voyager's Catherine Janeway, is the first woman ever to captain a Trek series. The public still wants to see female sexuality paraded. I'm about as far, looks-wise, as our society is willing to go where a commanding heterosexual female is concerned. I don't think you're going to see a 200-pound plain-looking woman in a position of command on Star Trek or anywhere else. Curiously, romance has also been slow to take hold on these shows. In a DS9 episode airing this week, Dax will wed her Grinch-like Klingon boyfriend, Worf, Michael Dorn. It's the first marriage between 2 major characters in the entire 31-year... Oh wow, it's the first marriage between 2 major characters in the entire 31-year history of the Trek franchise, notes DS9's executive producer era Stephen Beer. And there's another little paragraph. It's really more like a half page up here. And yeah, this is another long article, so I will continue reading this in the next part. See you later.